Hi, my name is Kedar Ahmed, and you're watching rptv. Welcome to the Planning Committee meeting held on February the 15th, 2024. The purpose of the Planning Committee is to make recommendations to the SDP Stakeholders Table on strategic direction and action priorities, inter-committee alignment, coordination, stakeholder and resident engagement. In this meeting, dynamic discussions and strategic planning initiatives unfolded to bolster community engagement and drive change within the SDP Stakeholders Table, delving into residents' engagement, strategies, logistical considerations, and member recognition. This session epitomized the committee's commitment to inclusivity and transparency. Let's go to the meeting to explore key discussion points and proposals.
Purpose of the Planning Committee. The committee makes recommendations to the SDP Stakeholders Table on strategic direction and action priorities, intercommittee alignment, coordination, stakeholder and resident engagement. Supporting the SDP Stakeholder Table to ensure that the meetings are effective, supporting the 4 work groups to be prepared to report at the SDP Stakeholder Table meetings, address requirements and or requests that need a quick response, identifying information or expertise that stakeholders require in order to make sound and informed decisions, and developing facilitation approaches that increase the capacity of all stakeholders to engage in discussion and decision making.
We'll be talking about upcoming SDP events, any updates on city staff and councilor meetings. We have our student placements, Abba and Jeff, presenting the survey that was created to ask residents about hybrid meetings, their attendance, meeting locations, and other matters related to barrier reduction. The item following that is changing day of evening meetings to accommodate STP members until April 4th. So that's about the class that's going on that would lead Adonis and Inez and Rashida. So that's 4 residents. And after that, we have resident engagement and outreach, an idea presented by Joel, which is lobby intercepts. So we'll be talking about what it is. We'll see if we can come up with ideas of locations, time frame, and if we have any volunteers in this group to do that. Afterwards, we have recognition. So we're discussing how to recognize the work of members in various groups. And then we have location of SDP-ST meeting, the Stakeholders Table meeting that's coming on April 24th. That way we can get an early booking. And lastly, we have proposal to meet less often / shorter meetings contingent on relevant agenda. So that's for the agenda items. So the first thing we have, and Gail, step in whenever you want. I'm just going to continue because I know you're driving. So first we have...
Is that the full agenda?
That's the full agenda, yes.
Okay, so for me, a couple things. I think with each agenda item, just let's make sure that we tell everybody here kind of the goal of whatever it is we're discussing, so that everybody stays aligned. And please remind me, I have an announcement for maybe the end of the meeting.
Gail, you have an announcement at the end of the meeting.
Yes, as well, yes. Is that okay?
Jesus, Steve, go ahead, Gail.
I get a shut up, Gail.
No, don't shut up. So I think it's Jeff that's doing the survey, I think.
Yes, me and Abba.
Oh, go ahead, my friend.
Okay, thank you, Gail. Ismail, should I share the screen or do you have the document on your end?
I'll ask you to share the screen, but before I do, I just wanted to go over the 2 standing agenda items. Sorry, Gail.
Cool.
So we have the next facilitator, Alona. Hopefully you can make it next week at 1 o'clock. Oh, no. You have Bible study, so I'll ask someone else. Then we have the upcoming SDP events. So just wanted to read out the events and meetings that are coming up in the next week. We have nothing tomorrow. Tuesday we have agenda planning as usual at 3:30, and then we have the EED meeting at 5 p.m. Gail, are you able to confirm if that's taking place or not?
Not the co-chair. I know it's not
Yeah.
happening.
Okay.
EED is no longer doing monthly meetings as far as I am aware. EED also does not have any co-chairs. So
Right.
you could reach out to Fatima or Maggie because they kind of have a committee going and just see. But my understanding is no.
Got it. Thank you.
So
Who
maybe
was-
I can.
Who was the other person besides Fatima?
Maggie from Tridel.
Nye? Who?
Maggie.
Maggie from Tridel.
Nike.
Maggie. Meggie. Maggie Hall. There's also YSM is at the table, so it's a group of people.
Got it. Okay, and then we
Right.
have Thursday, we have planning committee as usual. Next week it will be at 1 p.m. And lastly, any updates on city staff and councilor meetings? The co-chairs, the SDP co-chairs are looking to have a follow-up meeting with the city staff just to get updates on if there's anything to share regarding Daniela's position. Those who don't know, she was a city worker that used to attend our meetings, and she's transitioning into a new role. Updates on the reference group, and I believe the remaining operational funds. Okay, now to you, Jeff. I will stop sharing screen, and I'm going to give you permission to share. Will you be sharing, or will Abba?
I will be sharing. I can share from my end. Here, can everyone see this all right?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So yeah, Abba and I have been working on this survey for this past week upon the request of Ismail, Walid, and the rest of the SDP board. And the main goal for this survey, there's a few points that we want to address with this, but the main goal is to see if we can start running meetings more efficiently and try to gain more resident input. So I'll just do a quick rundown of the first 5 questions, and I will hand it over to Abba to cover the rest of the 5. There's 10 in total. And if there's any questions, just interrupt me, and we can add to the document, we can take away from the document. I'll get started. So the first question on the survey would be, are you a current member of the Regent Park SDP or a member of the Regent Park Neighborhood Association? This question is to mainly gauge who is answering this survey, because ideally we get responses from Regent Park residences, because at the last planning meeting, I think it was 2 weeks ago that I attended, one of the issues that we talked about is not getting enough residents' voices. So this is just the first question to get that out of the way. And the second question is based on how likely you will be attending sorry, this is worded incorrectly. I'll fix it. But basically the question is asking the people answering the survey to rank the 3 options for our meetings according to their preferences. So we have in person, we have 100% online, and we have a hybrid meeting. I don't know exactly, for example, how a hybrid meeting would look like. That's why right now we just have a placeholder word there that says description. But we decided to give people a ranking choice because maybe some people, they like hybrid and online. But if we ask them to choose 1 out of 3, the one that they would prefer the second most would be not included. So if we do a ranking option, we can see what people's exact preferences are. So maybe we can have a settlement based on people's preferences. The third question is, please select the type of SDP member you are. The choices are CHC residents, market resident, member or staff of a neighboring organization, and other. Again, just to gauge who is really answering these surveys. Number 4, the SDP board realizes that childminding is a service that many residents require to attend meetings. On a scale of 1 to 10, how willing would you be to attend an in-person meeting if childminding services are provided by the RPNA? And then we'll have a sliding scale of 1 to 10. In the meeting notes that Ismail gave me for the things that we want to see on the survey, childminding was a big factor. And it is not the only thing that's holding people back from attending meetings. Some people just have busy schedules. Some people have other family that are not their children to take care of. But it seems like childminding is one of those things that people require a lot. So we're asking them to we're asking them to give on a scale of 1 to 10, just because like we know there's other factors and this is not the only thing keeping people from coming to meetings. But yeah. And number 5 would be, would you find yourself needing the same childminding services if you plan to attend the meeting virtually? Because meeting virtually, if you have a kid, like they're still in your household, they still need your attention. So even if we do decide to do virtual or hybrid meetings instead of in person, childminding services might still be a thing that a lot of people require. So we just want to make sure that we don't leave that option out if we were to do a virtual or hybrid meeting. If there are no questions so far, I'll hand it off to Abba.
I see no questions. I see no hands. So go ahead.
Great.
Okay. So
Abba, I'll let you take.
thank you. For question 6, we're just discussing what challenges prevent people from attending SDP meetings as a way to kind of gauge how we could help members of the community and draw them into the meetings. For question 7, if there's a scheduling conflict, this is also just to maybe create a more flexible schedule that would allow for more people to join these meetings. For question 8, we just needed to see what other meeting locations might be more feasible in addition or instead of the Daniel Spectrum building. So we left the space for members to give more ideas for other meeting areas. For question 9, because the meetings are taking place on Thursday evenings and it might be a little bit of a tricky time for people to join, we just decided, we looked at the SDP calendar and found some time slots and days that might work for meetings to take place then. So we just given residents the choices to pick which days and times might be better for them. And then question 10, we just spoke about what incentives we wanted might draw people into coming to the meetings, like food, beverages, just to see if this might be more enticing for in-person meetings to take place.
Thank you. If I may, I just want to make one slight suggestion. Oh, sorry, Gail, you're facilitating. I don't know why you're raising your hand. Go ahead, speak. I was supposed to ask you to speak.
No, I think I heard Michael, so that's actually where I was going.
Oh, sorry. I'm not able to share screen and raise my hand, so. But Michael, go ahead. I'll go after Michael.
So there were a mixture of references to SDP, RPNA, board. So the SDP doesn't have a board, it has a planning committee. So was the intention of this to sort of do a general survey and then use the information for both SDP and RPNA, or was it intended for just one or the other?
Thank you for pointing out the mistake. That's my bad. This survey is meant for everyone. And correct me if I'm wrong, Ismail, on this, but I do think in the outreach or when we're sending this out, when we finish revising the survey and we do send it out, the main target that we want to hit is the residents, because it seems like we have not a lack, but we do want more residents' input at these meetings.
I wasn't asking about the target of the survey. I was asking like once we get the information for the survey, are we using it to adjust or set up SDP meetings, or is RPNA also using it for adjusting their meetings? Because, I mean, you could do one survey and use the information for both purposes, but otherwise I don't understand why it mentions both
So, Jeff, do you
things
want
when
to answer
if
that?
it's just the SDP. So I'm okay with it being both. I just wanted to clarify, is that the intention?
Yeah, I would say it was for both. Sorry, I'm still kind of new, so I don't exactly know the difference. Oh, I know it's two different organizations, but I mean the data that we collect from these, I feel like nothing's too specific. Is not. Oh, Ismail.
Let me provide some clarification here.
Sure.
So as much as the RPNA is a part of the SDP by virtue of the fact that it's an organization in Regent Park, and every organization in Regent Park is a part of the SDP by just virtue of its location, right? So that does exist. And so I recognize that being new, it takes some time to be oriented to the SDP. And it's probably one of the challenges we're having with even engaging people, because maybe people don't even understand, like, what is this SDP? If we're doing a survey, though, that is related to the planning table, it doesn't have a connection to the RPNA. And for the fact that the RPNA is now in its engagement and trying to bring people to the table, right? So if you were to survey residents about, if we can do general, as Michael said, saying, what would stop you from coming to a meeting, any meeting, right? We could do that. But we have to really clear, that's why I asked, make sure we determine or say upfront what the goal is. Because if the goal is strictly, I want to get people to the planning meeting, that's a different audience as compared to, I want to get people to the working groups, or I want to get people to the RPNA. And so it then becomes, who's the audience? If you say all residents have not heard about Regent Park, the SDP, and all residents don't want to come to the planning table. They may want to go to community building because, I'm interested in that, or I'm interested in economic development or communications or safety. So they will go to those. The purpose, as you read, of the planning table is to plan the strategic priorities for the stakeholders table, right? And over time, we anyone, we've said now, anyone. When we started this, it was, well, only co-chairs should come to the planning. Okay, only co-chairs and leaders of organizations, and then it kind of like, no, let's just let everyone come. So that's why so when you get back that data, is that data targeted to people who are interested in coming to planning and being a part of that initiative, or is that going to be data that targeted people who are just residents of Regent Park and maybe, I volunteer, or I'm interested in Friends of Regent Park, I'm interested in Dixon Hall, but I'm not necessarily interested in the SDP. So I think there's a little bit of thinking that we maybe as an organization want to think about, right? We can get the data, we can do the survey, the 10 questions, and then you will need to think about, is 10 questions too much, right? Are people going to be like, oh, I'm not going to do a survey with 10 questions? I probably wouldn't, because I'm busy, but that's just me, right? You might get me with 3 to 5 questions. So I don't know, and maybe it does need 10 questions. But I think, anyways, those are my initial thoughts and maybe some things to think about. And I will check for hands now. And I don't see any, or am I missing? Okay, go ahead with your hand.
I just wanted to clarify something, actually. So I took notes when we were talking about this survey, and I just shared the notes, sent it over. And I didn't mention to just keep it for the SDP, this survey. So Jeff and Abba, based on their interpretation, I guess mentioned RPN in this. So that's my fault. But no, Gail, thank you for clarifying that. I had one more thing to add, actually, if I may. In question 8, so we talk about locations. That's the location one, right? So
Yeah, correct.
can we also ask, maybe including why they would choose a certain location, so we know what factors they're taking into consideration? So some locations may be, you know, easier to access because transit. Other locations might just be easier for certain residents because that happens to be in their building. So just adding the why statement to the end of the question, I feel like would solve for that. Otherwise, I was going to suggest having a second question to ask if there's any deterrents a person may experience or any sort of obstacles a person may face when attending these in-person meetings.
Yeah, and I would like to maybe make it even more direct. What is stopping you from coming to the planning meeting? If it's about the planning meeting, do you want to come to the planning meeting? Great. Then you get a yes or no. What's stopping you from coming to the planning meeting, right? You're so targeted specific because you're trying to find that thing that is stopping them from coming to this specific planning meeting, whether it's Thursdays at 5 to 7 or 1 to 3, right? So certainly, and I don't know if you've done this. Don't take my tone as aggressive. That's just me. I'm the angry
No,
black
not
woman.
at all, Gail. I
But
really
I'm
appreciate
really
the input.
but I'm really not angry. But they'll say that. So I think like Caitlin is really good when it comes to evaluation. So is Michael, and I don't know if that's a kind of, hey, both of them. What do you think about this? What could we tweak? I mean, I'm sure you guys have a process. I don't know if that process is with, look at her and her smiley face. If that process is with Waleed or even with your class to say, okay, hey, here's the scenario. These are 10 questions. If you guys had to fill this out, based on this kind of goal, what do you think? Right? I think, anyways, those are just my suggestions. You guys might have another process that's working too. And just my suggestions.
No,
But
those are great
Caitlin,
suggestions, Gail. Thank you.
yeah, Caitlin and Michael
Yeah.
are really good when it comes to evaluation. It's not my forte. I just want the data. I just don't know how to get there. So again, if you want those two resources, I am sure Caitlin would not say no.
Sounds good. From what it sounds like, maybe we should maybe Abba and I can go back, spend some more time on this. And this is just coming off the top of my head. So what I was thinking is maybe we should reframe the survey a little bit. And like Gail said, maybe sometimes 10 questions is a little bit short for someone who just wants to come to a workshop, someone who wants to come to a meeting that's not planning related, right? Everyone's busy, everyone has their own thing going on. So maybe we have the first page of the survey. I'm guessing we might have to do this online. This will be a different story if it's a physical survey, but maybe the first page of the survey will keep it nice and short, and have it be very generalized to most events. And at the end of it, we have a question such as, do you want to come to these meetings, these planning committee meetings? And if they say yes, we take them to another page that has a few more specific questions, because some of these questions are very specific for this specific meeting, right? So I think that those are definitely good suggestions, and Abba and myself can definitely take those suggestions into reworking the survey. Go ahead.
Thank you. Sorry, Lona. I'll just finish really quickly and I'll give it to
Go
you.
ahead.
I think we're sort of missing the scope if we generalize it, because the intention of the survey, like Gail mentioned, it was when we discussed it, it was just for the planning committee meetings and the in-person aspect of just the planning committee meeting, not the stakeholders tables, not RPNA. If we are looking to change that, like if the group here wants to, we can. But I just want to make clear the original intention was planning committee. So maybe not having two versions or two parts of it, just sticking to one version, I think would just
Okay,
be
I see.
cleaner.
I see. Yeah, then we can clean it up a little bit for sure.
Alona?
Yeah, I agree with you. It should be just the SDP planning committee that we're doing the survey for, because it'll confuse people. And also, if you're doing the survey online, I keep telling people, There's a lot of people don't have internet or don't have the savvy to do the online internet thing. So maybe go to building and maybe get a survey done that way too by hard, you know,
Mhm.
you know what I mean, paper.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, that's also like something that I considered. But yeah, that's a good suggestion. Thank you.
Yeah, like I don't mind working in my building and handing out surveys to people and talking to them. I don't mind doing that. That's it.
Thank you, Lorna. You're the best. This one is going to be focused only on the planning table, though. So you won't have to work too hard. So it sounds like what we're saying is we are going to, the team, Jeff, Abba, they're going to take the survey, do a little bit more rework and come back. Do you want to come back in 1 week or 2 weeks?
I think 1 week is good because we're heading
Yeah.
into reading week at U of T. So I think Abba and I will have the time to just rework it and present it at the next meeting.
Okay. What is that? Reading week? Is that like party week?
Well, it depends on the student, but it's just a week of break to prepare for that.
I know it well. I know it well. I literally used it to read all the things I didn't read in the semester. So yeah, very cool. Awesome, folks. Okay. Ismail, I'm old. I don't remember what's on the next item on the agenda.
Next item. Let me just go back to sharing screen.
You're gonna hurt your neck looking up.
I know, but I need two screens, so.
But you don't have to have one up there, left, right.
So the next
All
item
right.
we have here. Sorry, Gail?
I said thank you, friend.
Oh, no worries. We have changing day of evening meetings to accommodate SDP members until April 4th. Walid said he would join us around 5:30. He is not here. So Gail, I'll leave it up to you. Do we want to skip over to the next one when you come back?
We should, but I think Michael wants to say something. Michael?
Well, there's actually only 3 meetings that are affected by this. So the simplest solution is just to change all those 3 meetings to 3 o'clock.
And how would we get to that decision? Or how would we get to that decision?
Well, I mean, if you think we should wait for Walid in case he has something else to say about it, I mean, we should certainly make that decision by the end of the meeting today.
Right. Oh, what did we decide? We said 4 residents?
Yes, that's 4 residents that we're missing.
We're missing 4? No, we're missing.
Yeah, Murshida, Inez, Walid. Oh, well, Adonis is resident. So yeah, 3 residents and Adonis.
Oops.
That's the number missing, but then you wanted to know how many are present, right?
Yeah, 3 are present. Right, Ismail?
Let me check that.
Lona, Miguel.
Yep, we have Ilona, we have Miguel, and yourself.
3. And you said you need 4, right?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. So hopefully Walid will join. But yeah, I mean, if there are 3 meetings, you just decide that you're changing those 3 meetings and just make sure that those people who would come, who should need to be there to make a decision, are there. Right, Marlene's not here. I will not be on the call. Just the 3 o'clock time that's a no-no. Right, so we just, as long as Marlene says she can and you can get the 4 people, then that would help to make the decision, right? So Lona, would you be able to?
What? I was
Will you be able to?
I was daydreaming. I'm sorry. What was
That's okay. 3 o'clock. Can you come to meetings on Thursdays for 3 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. That's 1.
3 o'clock's wonderful.
Yeah. Mike. Sorry. Miguel? He's probably doing something else. So, again, we kind of go around the room like that, but you only got 2 people here and 1 person is not available to speak. And so, right, already you only have 2 people here. So if you wanted to do 3 o'clock, would you be able to, right? Because it's going to be those who are here. Sorry, we're going to this 1 o'clock. We're going from 5 to 3 because of the course, right?
Right. Yes.
So if I think of the course, Murshida is still not going to come to the meeting. She has a job and she's studying. Ismail has a job, so he's really not coming at 3 o'clock. And Inez, she is working the cafe, but I'm sure she'll come. Right? So if we look at it from that perspective, you'll get 1 more person at the meeting. And you're going to lose 1 more. So we just need to have, helping us to make a decision would be good to have those folks, I don't know, maybe it's a connection with them, whether email or call to say, like, this is what it is. Will you be able to make the meeting? Just to hear from Ismail and Murshida. I suspect no, because they have said that before, right? You don't see Murshida around because she is working and she's also studying. And I believe she has family visitors. So there is that, right? And we know Ismail is working and he works for TCSC. So it would be a little bit difficult for him to come to a 3 o'clock meeting, right?
Right.
Knowing that TCSC is not even at the table. Not that he's representing TCSC, but he does have a full-time job with them. So what do you tell your employer? Yeah. So those would be the things to consider. But maybe when Waleed gets here, he'll have more insight. Maybe they all told him they're coming for 3 o'clock.
Okay.
Does that work?
Yes.
Okay.
But
Coolio.
I like the idea of actually reaching out to the residents who aren't here.
Yeah. Then you'll know. Set yourself up for success. Or maybe and that is then becomes this next decision. Well, maybe you're going to miss those evening meetings for the next 3 weeks and just do the 1, 2, 3s, I guess, and be okay. Because, if you think about what you have planned, I can think of the survey and then I can think of the stakeholders table. Gave me 6 meetings to plan here. Can we learn from what we did last time?
I know, I already started actually.
I know you did, right? When you have the burn, you usually start early. Preparation is everything. I tell myself that every day. So yeah, let's wait for Waleed and maybe he'll have more. This is his agenda item. So can we go on to the next one? Unless somebody else has something to add to this.
I see no hands in the chat. Or no questions in the chat, and I see no hands. I guess we can move on. So the next item we have is resident engagement and outreach, lobby intercepts, and Joel is sick, so he's unable to join us today. But I will go ahead and just share the idea, if I may.
Yes.
So we talked a lot about outreach, not only for engagement regarding planning committee, but also the SDP as a whole. So Joel had an idea, even last year he was talking about it, where we actually physically go to lobbies of these buildings and reach out to residents directly, right? Just having a little information table, if you will, where we have 1 or 2 members of the SDP go there, speak to residents, engage with them, invite them to meetings, and And yeah, because we want to re-engage with people face to face rather than just emails.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a bit of that as well. So that's the concept. Any questions on just the idea itself? I see no hands. I see nothing in the chat.
No issues at all with that concept. No issues at all. And my issue always is with our execution, plan and execution.
Mm-hmm.
What is the goal? Like the goal can't be, oh, we're going to engage residents. To engage is a verb. How are you qualifying my success? Am I engaging 1 resident, 6 residents, 12 residents, right? Like that gives me something to work towards, and then I can say, I did that. Or am I throwing the snowball and hope it sticks? Like, do I throw the wet mud and hope that it sticks and lands somewhere? Right? I don't know. That is it. So how do I know what that number is? I think that number is based on how many roles do I need filled? Like, what work do I say I have for these people to do? So that they can be like, how am I engaging them? Are you engaging me by giving me a mug, patting me on the back? Are you engaging me by making me come to weekly meetings? Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Take more. They got too many in there, and I need the space in there to do other things. Right? Am I? Like what is this engaged thing here? That is the piece, right? Like, are you going to make me come to a meeting 5 to 7 to rant and rave about the fact that the city didn't give me no money? I don't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or do I want to be part of an event like Sunday in the Park? We're planning that, or right, like so you kind of have to look at your org and say, well, these are the things we want, and it could be that we want a body of people at the table sharing knowledge, ideas, opinions. See, that's very specific. How many do you want? Don't tell me all, because you cannot get all. You want 20? You want 50? Do you want 100? Right? But engage is so wide. We have to do this. We have to do lobby intersects. We have to call it from the mountaintop. We know that people like interaction. When we do a meeting, we're constantly saying, oh guys, keep the noise down, get the next person speaking, because we want to interact. We came out of 2 years. This is people's everywhere in the world. Came out of 2 years plus of COVID. We want social interaction. Experiences sell. So how, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you do that? In this social development plan setting, right? So, Inez used to do like tea parties, right? Yeah, you're doing it around something. So, do we do some kind of party of some kind? I don't know. Some type of thing. And, Lona loves a party. Some kind of thing where, you have this big tree, right? And again, it's interactive, and I can come and stick my idea of what I would like this tree to become as it represents Regent Park. And just that, if you want to get my voice, keep giving me these interactive things to do to hear my voice rather than making me sit for 2 hours. I'm just saying, like, that's not how normal people function. It's the business people is to do, and we don't even do 2 hours meetings. We do an hour. If you're doing 2 hours meeting, it means you're not efficient in the corporate world. So, what can we do, right? I'm a mom with 5 kids, mom with 3 kids. I go to school. Whatever. You're like, how do you want to engage with me? Like, you're supposed to meet me where I'm at, not tell me to come to you. So you meet me where you're at. Now we're going to do a lobby intersect. What does that look like? You're gonna stand there and hand out like, hey, you should join the SDP. We're the best thing since sliced bread. Really? I'm coming home from work. It's 5 PM. I don't want to hear that. Right? So my experience in my building has been, I think our board decided we don't want Rogers, Bell, and whoever doing lobby intersects. We were tired of it. It's too much, right? So they don't come anymore. Just send emails instead. But so it's, what is that thing? What is that thing we're gonna do to interact with? Yeah,
Yeah,
they
we
are
have 2 hands.
okay. Oops, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So we have Alona first, and then we have Ryan right after. Alona?
Yeah, go ahead.
First of all, in the survey, maybe not use hybrid meetings and say in-person meetings, because some people wouldn't understand hybrid. A guy couldn't figure out what the hell you meant until he said in person. Okay.
Great point. No, great point.
And another thing, we can host an event where we bring the surveys there. Like we've done this before, and people have come and they've filled out surveys. Have a big event and invite everybody. Leave flyers in all the buildings and let them know that this event is going to happen, and food, drinks, everything. Place your time to enjoy yourself, but you got to fill out a survey.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
That's good. Yeah, that's what we call engagement, my friend. Thank you.
I'm a animal.
Yeah, I know you are. Go ahead, friend.
Ryan, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just thought maybe you can answer me a question. I mean, if you do a big outreach, you contact a lot of people and ask their opinions on locations and time and all that, you might get, thousands of different answers. I mean, how do you go about trying to, make a final decisions about all these different types of answers? I mean, it's kind of hard sometimes to be inclusive like that, isn't it? I mean, would it end up being another situation where everyone's just again stuck and not being able to have an answer for what to do again? How do you go about like just trying to sort all that out?
Are you referencing? Because I think we might be confusing two things. So our previous topic was about the survey to understand for the planning table why folks to the planning table are not coming. That was one.
And the resident engagement. Like, I mean, if you're gonna be reaching out to people,
Yeah, resident engagement. We don't want to do that specific survey. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do. I don't know if we want to do any survey, but if we do, we'd have to plan like, what is that? What is it that we're trying to get out of them? The idea behind the resident engagement was we want to get more people involved. I call it. That's why you heard me say, well, I don't know how to define engagement. What do you mean by that? But we want to get more people involved in the social development plan, and that could be, and giving my opinion. Telling you how I think you should spend the 26.8 million, maybe joining a working group, leading an initiative, like becoming co-chair, all those things, I guess those are all activities of the social development plan. So could be any of those, but we as a group have not defined what we mean by engagement, but two separate things. I don't think we would be doing a survey. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's a lot, Ryan. I'm feeling your burn too. Sometimes I see the data and I still don't know what to make out of it. That's why you heard me say, oh, Michael and Caitlin are good at that.
Yeah, no, it just seems like, I watch some of these meetings, there's just, everyone's got a different opinion. And I always just wonder, how is it? It could be a painful process, I can imagine, trying to move forward on some of these sort of things, even small decisions,
Not it can be, it has been.
Okay.
Right. You're so diplomatic.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, keep You're right. When you're a little bit on the outside looking in. And for me, anyways, those are important thoughts and ideas and opinions to have, because you're not kind of tainted by the pool, right? You're bringing a fresh look, and yeah, so keep them coming. Don't think that they're not valid, because for me, they're very valid.
Thank you. Thank you.
Eddie, you said something that's really key. Like, how would you even try to decipher all this? So many of them. I don't even know how to answer that one. I would need a Caitlin. So yeah, thank you for that. That was very thoughtful of you. Let me look and see who else has their hands raised. I see Waleed is here, so maybe you want to go back to his item, and that guy called student from communications has joined us. Maybe he's making his presence known. Waleed, do you want to go to your item? We were just discussing the Joel item, but maybe you can go to your item.
Sure. Thank you so much, Gail. Is this the item related to changing the day of evening meetings? I'm assuming Abba and Jeff presented the survey.
They did.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jeff and Abba. Really appreciate your support of the SDP. Yeah, I guess we can quickly speak about the evening meetings. So what I think we were all informed was it's a course that contradicts the 5 o'clock meeting time on Thursdays. So one option is we stick to the afternoon meetings for now until the course is done. And maybe Adonis could remind us when the course ends, or revert to a different different meeting day of the week. So I'm hoping that folks could just quickly share their thoughts on which option they would like to proceed with. Keeping the meetings just in the afternoon until Adonis, when is the last day of the course?
So I think we have an April 4th date, and I think the understanding is only three left, right, Adonis?
No, it goes to April 4th.
Yeah.
So there's more than three course days, but there's only 3 that conflict.
Yes.
Yeah. So
That's excellent, Michael.
So so we had some initial discussions, and what we tried to do, Waleed, was to identify who comes to planning, right? And so Murshida cannot, because she's working and she's also in school. So she says she will not be able to attend during the days. I'm not going to. I can't guarantee, actually. And Ismail cannot, because he is also working, right? Ismail.
Afra.
So I think the meeting time then must be an option we should consider. Could I request?
Oh, I lost my connection.
Go ahead, Gail. Sorry.
Yeah, is it that we are, maybe, then we think about, should we just only do during the days? And do you have the 4 people that you need to run your meeting, including the 1 market resident? I won't be. So maybe you're saying, hey, Sarah Jane or Marlene, can you just make sure that you're here? Right. We also suggested that maybe Ismail Muhammad here can reach out to Murshida and Ismail just to confirm whether they would be able to make a meeting 1 to 3 or 3 to 5. Right, because you want to get your quorum, right?
Yeah,
you want to get 4 people.
That's a good suggestion.
Market. So why not? Because if you make the decision here, I think you're gonna have a split. It's just me, you, Lona, Miguel. Miguel can come probably to day meeting. I don't know. I'm assuming you can as well. And Lona can do 3 to 5 because of her appointment. Right. So just looking at that list of people and saying, okay, who can and who can't, and can we get the 4, and then you take it from there.
That's
Since
really
it's only
good
until April 4th. It's only until April 4th. Yeah.
Okay.
Inez is another person that's in the course. Inez, she is doing the cafe, so you'd have to ask her, would she be willing to be on a call?
Ismail, do you mind helping me with collecting that input, maybe for our next planning committee? And then we can come up with a recommendation based on people's availability.
Of course, yeah.
Thank you, Ishmael. I think that's a way forward. But Ilona wants to say something.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I don't go to Sunday church because it's too far for me to go. I have a service that I help create here in my building every Thursday at 12:45. So I will not be able to go for the 1 o'clock meeting, period. No changing. So either I leave the committee completely because I can't, or, that's all I can say, because Thursday is not good for me unless it's after 1:30. It has to be after 1:30.
Thank you, Lona. I made note of your availability, not at 1, but after 1:30. Thank you.
Yeah, any Thursday, ongoing.
Yes, Michael, go ahead.
Okay, so with regard to the evening meetings, it's the 3 dates of February 29th, March 14th, and March 28th. And that's the only ones that are affected. If there's also a suggestion to just move all the afternoon meetings later, that's a separate issue. That would be ongoing beyond just those dates. So I don't know if that's still on the table. I heard that last week, that both of those changes could be made. But as far as the course is concerned, there's only 3 days that are affected. And in fact, the 29th also appears to be a conflict with TCHC. So we definitely have to change that one because there could be 3 things on the same day. So that's to be avoided. So we need a solution for those 3 dates. And then there's a separate question, should the afternoon meetings be changed to a later date, later time, like maybe 2 o'clock?
That's a good question, Michael. I think we can maybe discuss this at agenda planning based on people's availability and the feedback that we got, and then make a recommendation at the next planning committee. That is a really good observation. Thank you, Michael. Gail, can we move on to the next item? I think I'm comfortable
So are
with
we
the feedback.
putting this till next week's meeting to make a decision?
Yes, because we haven't checked in with people's availability, as Gail recommended earlier. Like, it's important for us to find the availability before making a recommendation. So I think we should take the lead from Gail, that approach. Yeah.
Welcome back, Gail.
Gail, can you hear us?
Huh? It's cold as freaking cold. Yes, I'm gonna go get my money. And yes, I know Inez has gone to her meeting. No, her school. Yeah, I know. She told me. This is amazing. Yeah, she's a serious promo woman, though. So.
Ready? So do we want to move on to the next agenda item, Gail?
I was going to suggest, Willie, before we move on to the next agenda item, if we can maybe come up with some more alternative dates. So we talked about having Thursdays at 1 p.m. or 1:30. We also said alternative evening days to meet.
Monday's an option for many people.
Monday evenings?
Monday evenings. Because we're also canceling certain meetings, so that's going to make people free.
And how about Wednesdays?
Certain Wednesdays, certain. We'll have to check in with the RPNA folks, Miguel, myself, Marlene. Gail. So it could alternate on certain Wednesday nights. So we'll avoid Thursday. We'll do Mondays or Wednesdays. We'll check those days. And worst case scenario, we might do it on a Tuesday.
Adonis, go ahead.
I think it's going to be pretty confusing. There will always be someone who, you're checking all those days. There will always be people who can't make one day or not another. I suggest that do whatever we can to leave it on the Thursday date. Whether we have to change the time, that's fine. Whether we have to miss 3 meetings, that's fine. Maybe just cancel those 3 meetings that we're meeting in the evening. But make it simple, because if you start changing a date, we're going to lose people because they're confused. And the time, I suggest we leave it at the time and the date as is. And if we want to cancel the 3 Thursdays, we do it. It's not a big deal, but leave the time as it is. Because everyone who makes, unless we're saying that people can't make the current time at 1, then yeah, I understand, but do as much as we can to make as little changes as possible.
No, I can hear. Yeah, I can hear. And you can tell you're like, oh, you're right.
Okay. Not sure where Gail is currently, but Walid, since we have you kind of leading this item, what do you think about Adonis's proposal of just leaving the date or just canceling the meetings altogether, rather than confusing people and changing the date? Because Adonis brings up a good point about losing attendance because of the changed dates.
Can I ask Adonis, if we do increase participation on a different date, will that work for everyone? If we have more people confirming for another day of the week?
Yes. Yes, of course. Until 7.
Yeah, I see Lorna shaking her head. Adonis, what do you think?
Oh, you're speaking to the converted. We're here.
Okay.
It's the people that's not here that you're gonna have
bring,
to.
yeah.
That's a challenge, right? So that's why I
Yeah.
say keep it simple, unless you're gonna like do a major
Turnout.
the whole
Yeah.
stakeholders table and find out who's available on what date, and then then you're gonna have a
I
problem.
am free all Wednesday.
Good. Wednesday, yeah.
All Wednesday, all day. I've got nothing on my agenda, period.
Good. That's an option.
Some Thursdays I even have home care, but Wednesdays are free completely, nothing. Monday evening, okay for me too.
Perfect. Mondays and Wednesdays. Good. Those are
Yeah.
2 options. Okay. Well, I'll check in with Ismail during agenda planning after checking everyone's availability, and we'll recommend a change in date or time or cancellation of the meetings as one of those options. Okay. Back to you, Gail, for the next item.
I suggest we until Gail comes back, that Ismail, you take over the facilitation, maybe,
Sure. Thank you.
please.
Yep. So back to the item we were discussing. So really, just to bring you up to speed, we were just talking about doing lobby intercepts, which is an idea that Joel presented. And Gail brought up some good points. Gail was talking about being more specific with what engagement actually is, if we're inviting them to meetings, if we're inviting them to the April 24th meeting, or if we're just telling them that, hey, we have this money, we need to spend it. Come share your opinion to spend it wisely. To just be more specific, and also with the goals of like not just saying that, you know, I'm just gonna sit here on a table with all these pamphlets, but rather how many residents am I hoping to sign up, right? Having that goal so everything's more clear. And that was just a concept part. So what I wanted to ask is locations, time frame, and the who part. So maybe if we can just discuss locations. I know TCHC, so I'll get started. I know TCHC is relatively easy as long as we can email the super of the building, or even if it's after hours, if you want to be sneaky about it, you can just go set up. So I'll write down TCHC, reach out to Lona, go ahead.
The community center on Shooter Street, the new one. We've used their rooms many a times, and that they got huge room.
Community center is a great place. I'm talking more about there might be some confusion here, Ilona. Talking more about having an information table for the SDP. So residents that we haven't engaged with or that haven't been part of the SDP in a while to re-engage with them. But I do think the community center is a great location for that. So thank you. Any other suggestions for location?
I think when there's an SDP event, we should have people do outreach because people who show up to these events generally care about the community and may be interested in the SDP. So when it comes to just as a strategy, any SDP event planned by any of the working groups, we should figure out who's going to be our ambassadors at that event to recruit folks. Okay. And the other, I think, locations we can do a lobby intercept is hope it gets warmer, but also the outside Fresco. There's a lot of people that traffic that area. We should do an intercept at outside Fresco. We should also maybe set up a table where the Regent Park Tech Library was set up, like on the ground floor of Daniel Spectrum, beside the Regent Park Cafe. That's another, good opportunity to connect with folks. And then I'm also thinking about the Regent Park Community Health Center. No, sorry, the Regent Park Community Center. Not the Community Health Center. I don't know if you can table there, but the community center for sure, this traffic.
All great ideas. Thank you. Miguel? Miguel, you're still muted. I see your hand raised.
Oh, girl, so good.
So what do we do? What do we do to reach out to people in the condos? Any ideas how to reach out to them?
There's an engagement strategy for the condos in progress. So we already know what works. We know what has worked from the past as well with the work that Barb did. The issue is not maybe the activities, it's the part of that is just the content that they receive. So we're working through that. And then the other is what specific things are we looking for? So we've used the word engagement, but we haven't defined what we mean by that. Do you want me to come to a meeting between 5 to 7 and 1 to 3 for 2 hours to, I don't know. Do you want me to engage because you want me to be a part of working groups and go to those meetings? Do you want me to engage by leading a project or an initiative? Do you want me to engage by hearing my voice as a resident around different things? And then the other piece of that is how many is the amount you're looking for. And of course, it cannot be all. We would love to have all, but that's not a realistic number for you to say. And if you get all, fantastic. Now you change course and you do something. You won't get all. But do you want 20? Do you want 30? Do you want 50? Kind of those things. So every suggestion about engaging with residents is a great suggestion. The challenge sometimes is the execution of. Yes, I like 100. Should be 200, right? But know that the SDP is not just the planning table, it's the 4 working groups, and it's all the organizations that are part of. So people are engaging with the SDP because it's many organizations across Regent Park, and maybe we just need to focus in and say we want them to engage in this way at this committee or that committee or Because it seems to be that we're talking about committees.
Thank you, Gail. Miguel, does that answer your question? So you're still muted. I will suggest, Michael, did you want to speak?
My question is with regards to the condominium owners, managers. I think they're a bit reluctant to communicate with TCAC residents, and
That is incorrect. We have the
have-
information.
Can I finish my statement, Gail? I'm talking right now.
Sorry. Oops, I'm sorry.
Okay, so my experience has been that in talking to the community animators office led by TCAC is that they have difficulty to reaching out to the condo managers because many of the condo managers seems to be changing hands every day or almost every week. A new manager pops up, and we don't know who is in charge this week and who is in charge the next week or the next month. So there is a lack of consistency with communication with condo managers. That is my only concern. Thank you.
Thank you. Just writing that down. What I would like to suggest is, I have a lot of good feedback regarding this item. I'm going to sit with it a bit longer, work on it a bit more, refine it, and then bring it back to planning. And once we get the approval to do so, I clearly see interest. So once we get the approval to do so, we can start doing that. So with that, could we move to the next agenda item? So Waleed, this will be going back to you. You brought this up December 13th of 2023. And sorry, it's just making it back to planning. Recognition. How do we recognize the work of members?
I'm going to keep it brief and short, my friends. It's important to recognize the important work done by members of the SDP, whether it's the working groups, the committee, or folks who are leading projects that promote our goal of social cohesion and inclusion. I want to recommend that we strike a working group from the planning committee that will be basically responsible to recommend recipients for recognition at the April stakeholders meeting. So the report back meeting that we're having in April. So what we could do is I can support the working group with a nomination form that folks can fill, and then we can think about ways to recognize their contributions to the SDP. So that's a summary.
So Waleed, will you be circulating the nomination form
Yeah, if we decide that we move forward with this idea, I'm willing to work on a nomination form. It could be a simple Google form that people could fill, and then we can have some of us as part of the planning committee be part of that process to recognize the great work done by individuals supporting the SDP, or it could even be a group that's supporting the SDP.
So we do have enough people here to make the decision now, if we would like.
I'd like to put forward that proposal. If anyone would like to express their support for it, that'd be greatly appreciated.
Would everybody be included in that nomination or just certain people?
Anybody anyone wants to nominate. Anybody's open. It's open
No,
to
I
anyone.
mean, can anybody be nominated?
Yes, as long as you've supported the SDP, you can be nominated.
Like me?
Of course.
Well, I'm the winner already then.
No, you're funny. I know you've been volunteering for a very long time for the Safety Network Planning Committee. Yes, I would for sure love for you to get an award.
I've been around for 13 years, guys. More. I'm getting old. I'm thinking of retiring.
Oh no.
Oh,
Don't retire
yeah.
too soon. We need you at the table, for sure.
Okay.
Okay. So Walid has put
Could
forward.
I ask, since you're facilitating, if there's any opposition to that idea? So at least it's based on consensus?
Nothing in the chat.
The idea for me?
Good. Oh, Ilona is good. Okay.
Sarah Jane, sorry, did you say something?
I wanted to know
Miguel.
what idea I'm agreeing to.
Well, it's to recognize folks who've been supporting the SDP, like you, Sarah Jane.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry I'm late.
No worries, Sarah Jane. No problem.
And what are we trying to vote on?
To move forward with the idea of recognizing groups or individuals that support the SDP for the April report back meeting.
Oh, okay. This is specific to the report back meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I you know, again, I recognition that all the data says that when you reward and recognize people, it makes them feel good. Anyways, I have my own personal opinions, but certainly I'm all about that. I think that, and I guess you have your thing here where you say you have enough people to vote, and I guess you could go that route. Because my vote would be kind of no, and it's a no on condition. It's a no of, let's send out an email. Let's tell people this is something that we're thinking about. Let's hear if you have any thoughts around it, right? But there are many people over this year who have done great work, and they're no longer even at this table, right? And of course, we would need a process that shows how we're recognizing, so that somebody doesn't say, oh, you didn't recognize me, how come you recognize that person? Sometimes you got to recognize everybody just to make it and maybe create some tears. But yeah, I think that people should be recognized, absolutely. I'm always concerned when kind of other people didn't kind of get to weigh in and have their say. But I'm good with it. I'm not even blocking it. I'm okay with it. But I think we have to be really very careful with that process, because that could cause, again, that's a reality of our environment, right?
Okay.
So we have to be very careful.
Gail, that's very wise. So what I will do is make sure at our next planning committee that we go through the process so we could get input from folks and buy-in and then move forward. But if folks are comfortable with that idea, we can get started.
Hello?
Yes, Michael.
So I can support it regardless of the answer to this question, but I'm still curious. Is this thought of as more of an award for like some few people who did something exceptional, or is this thought of as more like a recognition of a larger number of people?
It's both. Based on the nomination put forward, the onus will be on them to explain the impact of the individual or the group's involvement with the SDP. And we'll talk about the process at our next planning meeting. But I just want to make sure we have a go, that we're comfortable moving with that idea for the April report back meeting. Okay, Ismail, I don't think anyone's opposed. I think everyone seems to be okay with that idea. So maybe just to make sure that we include in the next planning committee, and we'll present a draft process and we'll seek nominations of folks who want to serve on this committee or sub working group. Okay.
Got it. Thank you. So that's the recognition piece. Location. So the next agenda item, we have location of the SDP-ST meeting, which is on April 24th. So we had this discussion around when we were planning for the November 27th meeting, and we decided that we would do the meeting at Daniel Spectrum. Part of the reason why we did it at Daniel Spectrum was ease of access, and the other reason was the community center was booked. So now I'm wondering, I know someone brought up the community center last time, so I'm wondering if we should even have that if we should just pick Daniel's spectrum, because residents have said that, it's easier to access, or if there's anyone here that wants to remind me why we were talking about doing it at the community center. I think
That was
someone,
an option. That was just an option.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah. Ilona said if you can't find it there.
I just know it's what do you call it? It's accessible to wheelchairs and everything, and it's a very welcoming atmosphere in there. And the room is bigger than the Daniel spectrum, so people can move around. Maybe that's another reason that people aren't showing up, because it's too crowded, and some people don't like crowded rooms. But if the room is bigger, people, might stay. Just a thought. Hey, Waleed, what do you think? He left us.
okay.
Does anybody think?
No, Ilona, I appreciate your input. I think regarding this, I would suggest that maybe we just bring it back for another discussion, since not too many people here present have an opinion on that matter. I know Deanie really wants it at the Daniel spectrum. So if there's no one against doing it at the Daniel spectrum, I would suggest we do it there. Ilona, I know you just made the suggestion of the community center and like why. I understand that, but I'm worried that even if we have some difficulty,
If we're going to do it at the Daniel spectrum, maybe get one of the big rooms instead of where we usually have it, because that space is really small. But they have a big hall inside.
So,
Just a thought,
Michael, go ahead.
So I realize we are sort of starting to outgrow that space, which is probably a good thing, even though I really like the space, but it might be good to do something else. But I'm really against the large room at Daniels because it's painted black. It's a horrible, dingy room to be in. Even if you turn on all the lights, I really don't like it. It's designed for a stage show. In other words, for inequality between the people who are speaking and the people who are listening. It's totally inappropriate for our use. People try to put in other types of events there, but it was never designed for anything at all like a community meeting. So if we don't want to use the front area at Daniels, I would strongly suggest we go to a different building.
I think if we want to have a good turnout, Michael, and make it as accessible as possible, Daniel Spectrum is a good location because we have a lot of programming related to the SDP in the building itself. So why don't we try to explore whether the room is available, right? Like maybe the decision's made for us. If it's not available on that date, then we're going to have to look at the Regent Park Community Center or other locations.
Well,
Now
I
let's
prefer
check.
not to even take the room, even if it is available.
We can always decorate that room, make it look brighter,
Yeah,
more colorful.
yeah. We can fix that issue, Ilona, right?
The people.
The other thing is we had technical issues there because of they control who works on the equipment, and we don't have communication with them, and there were also problems with the sound for people who weren't in the room.
We can fix that. We can fix that.
Well, that one actually I'm not sure we can fix because it's not being given to us to control and fix. That's my point. They'll probably let us decorate the room, but I don't think they'll let us control the sound system. So that one may not be fixable.
Yeah, it's a unionized space, Michael. So we have to go through the rules. But I'm sure Fareed can support us with any requests we need, and maybe working with Adonis to make sure everything is set up.
Yeah, but the point is that they weren't prepared to let us do that in the past. So
because we didn't.
You're just saying, let's take the room and see what happens, and I'm saying we haven't got guarantees on these issues, so I don't think it's a good idea.
Okay.
Okay, Michael, thank you for sharing your opinion. And Waleed, all your points are noted. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
I think for this one, let me reach out to Fareed and make sure that the space is available. If it is, before going ahead and booking, I'll bring the conversation back over here. I'll also have a conversation with Deanie, who can't attend the planning meetings, just to see, because she was quite vocal about, needing to do it at the Daniel Spectrum. So I'll speak to her. Another option for location is also 150 River, which is a really large room. But again, we run into the issue of Focus getting there. Community center is a walk away from Focus or a short car ride. But 150 River, taking all that equipment there and then resetting over there would take a lot more work for Focus. So we would have to
There's
run
no
that.
internet. No internet as well.
No internet. So maybe not 150 River. So it'll only be community center or a Daniel Spectrum then. Okay, so I'll reach out to Fareed and I'll come back to the planning later on to discuss that.
That's not true. We've had internet there.
Yeah, Teresa brought this device that gave us internet. Usually in that room, there's no internet. I asked for it, and then they brought it.
So perhaps I can
unless
even
we borrow it.
So we asked for it.
There's always a solution. If we
Right.
want to make it work, we'll make it work. Always.
Yeah, just ask for it. The worst they can do is say no.
Well, there's always a solution for situations you can control, but if somebody else won't let you control the situation, then there isn't a solution.
So, okay, so the next item here, so I'll come back to the planning committee regarding the discussion about location. The next item here, we have proposal to meet less often, shorter meetings. Since Joel is not here, I would
Could we
like
push that to the
defer-
next meeting? So you can speak
Yes,
to it?
please. I would like to defer this item so we can discuss it when Joel is better and with us.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, Gail, are you still with us?
Trying my best.
That's the end of the agenda. Do we have any other business or can we end the meeting here, Gail?
Oh, yeah, my other business is my announcement.
Yes. Your announcement.
Right. Bye. I'm leaving this wonderful neighborhood called Regent Park, never to come back. You can
What do you
close
mean,
your
Gail? You're leaving the neighborhood. What are you
discussing
talking
this
about?
here. I mean, I'm leaving. I'm going to my new condo in Richmond Hill.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I miss you.
Oh, no, you're not. But the good
Yeah,
thing
we
is that
are.
I'm not leaving, actually. So, Ismail, you can take your face down now.
I'm moving in with you.
Please and thank you. I need all the good energy I can get. Well, my announcement is about the cafe. We do have a cafe project. Oh, I was gonna say project. We have a project which is part of our 7-step entrepreneurship strategy. And the one of those steps is a cafe. Actually, the first step is a learning series. We had a brilliant person in Layla who did that work. We now have a repository of learning that any entrepreneur can take, extensive library. And we now have a process for anyone to come and pick up that manual and say, okay, I'm going to do the learning series. We then have, so we now have the cafe project. That is our step 2 AB, something like that. And it is operating in the Spectrum's Cafe. It is Monday to Friday as we have those hours, whatever they are. It is 9 to whenever I want to go home, but it's 9 to 8. We're doing breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I think one of the most amazing things about this, or what we're trying to do, is to ensure that there is continuity, that we don't just do this and we're done. That next year, next month, next week, we can say, oh, let's open up the cafe again. And, we're striving for, let's have the cafe always operating. And the key is to, you've done the learning series, here's an opportunity, or you've done some things, here's an opportunity to practice, get practical with if you had your own restaurant. Because the final step in the entrepreneurship strategy is you are able to open your own brick and mortar location, which is the part of the strategy that has been resourced, that it has been resourced by the Daniels Corporation, and would continue with Tridel, I assume, or something like it. So, you know, when you look at that strategy, when you look at that component that Daniels has contributed to, and they've tried it, I think this is the 4th time, and all 3 times it has failed, right? So, you know, this is one of the things that helps people to get ready for it. If they wanted to now have their own brick and mortar, they can do that. They've had the practice of running their own business with guidance, with support, etc. So that's what's happening. So tell your networks, tell Dixon Hall, YSM, all these organizations that there's a cafe. We sell breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we have 6, 7 entrepreneurs. Yeah, okay. They've been selling, they've sold out every week, every day this week.
Oh, it's not free.
No. But if you come, I will buy you dinner though, Lorna.
I love
Yeah,
you.
you just gotta come. I will buy you dinner for sure.
What's the day that you're best there?
Okay, I will check the schedule and then we'll figure that out, because I know you have some allergies, right?
Not with food.
Oh, okay.
I just got no teeth.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. So we'll figure that out. Yes, Mr. Regent.
So we'll make a date.
Yes, we'll make a date. We'll make a date.
Okay. I think Ismail wants to say something.
I know. Mr. Regent Park, go ahead.
Question. Can you just confirm the date and time? So you said Monday through Thursday?
Mondays to Friday.
Okay.
9 a.m. to 8 p.m. I would also suggest that you add to your, when you send out your note, that you add like you add the Instagram. I'd ask for it to be sent to you, but I'm going to have to employ Waleed's army of volunteers to help us right the ship a little bit so that we get kind of all these little pieces put away. But again, they've sold out all this week. People are excited about it, excited to support them. So yeah, and they're happy, they're excited, and they're planning and, you know, thinking of different ways to do things. And yeah, it's good to see.
Could you leave the Instagram handle in the chat, and then I'll just make sure it's on the notes here?
Mm-hmm.
Gail, do you know if there's any post or anything with regards to this? I can include it.
I think they're working through it. And some are going, they're doing it. It's going to be, CC's going to do a flyer drop for us, but I think we're just waiting for the others. And yeah, that will have to happen for sure.
I was just saying so I can include it in tomorrow's email blast.
Oh yeah, I'll reach out and see if it does indeed exist. And yeah.
Thanks.
You send me the flyers email-wise, I can send it to somebody I now have somebody that will post it for me.
Okay, great. Thank you, Lana.
Print it and post it.
All right.
I have
to. I know you do. I know you do. Hey, how you doing? Yeah. Good.
One last announcement before we end the meeting. And Jeff and Abba, I just want to thank you for presenting today. If you could send me the link to the survey you presented, I'll really appreciate it. I'd love to look at it as well. But I know you've got a lot of great feedback from members of the planning committee.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. And we'll see you next week at 1 o'clock for those of us who can join. Take care.
Yeah. Sorry I won't be there. Love you guys.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for coming.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And please follow our social media platforms. And for more information, please visit our website.